I want to talk about a piece of gear today that I feel is very important to carry on a rig on just about every trip you're going to go on, especially in the winter. But also it's a piece of gear that you're probably going to want in the summer months as well. A very versatile piece of gear, something that's safe, inexpensive, and should be, in my opinion, kept in every rig and used quite often. What am I talking about? I'm talking about a very simple and rugged handsaw. You can make a nice leather sheath for it or find someone to make one for you. But here it is. In my opinion, very good piece of gear to be carrying in your off-road rig. Why is this piece of gear so great? In my opinion, it's better than a chainsaw, especially in the winter months. You can be wearing gloves, you're going to be wearing heavy, loose-fitting clothing, and you kind of want to minimize the moving parts on the trail, especially when it's below zero. You're fighting with cold, you're fighting with ice. In a chainsaw, you know, you're carrying fuel, carrying oil for it. Is it going to start below zero? You're just adding all these things to the equation. The simple handsaw takes all that away. Just about everyone can use one of these. Simple to use, well below zero. If a log is in the, a down tree is in the way of the trail, branches, all that can be effectively cut with all this. It's going to take a little bit more effort, but it's going to warm you up. It's going to slow your trail travel down. You're going to be out in the woods a little longer and kind of enjoying things. So fantastic piece of gear. Is it better than an axe? Yes. An axe, a really good axe, is nice to have as well, and everyone should be carrying a quality axe in their off-road rig anyways. But when it comes to uses of an axe on the trail, you're going to use it for cutting branches. It's a little bit more difficult with an axe to cut a tree or a bigger log off of the trail, especially when it's below zero, especially when things are frozen. Same thing, you got gloves on, and if you don't use an axe often and keep that axe sharp and maintain it and have a lot of experience with it, they're not enjoyable to use. They're a little bit difficult, and they're not something that everyone is going to be able to use and carry in their vehicle. Same as a chainsaw. Not everyone's going to have one, because not everyone's going to have the expense, and especially when you're talking chainsaw, not everyone's going to have that room in their rig. This, like I said, inexpensive. You can get these at hardware stores. I got this in an antique shop. It was given to me by the owner. It was in the corner. Dusty, rusty, and he just gave it to me. Clean it up, and fantastic tool to have on the trail now. Easy to store in the rig, get something that'll protect it, throw it in there, and off you go on your adventures. Now, in a survival type situation, let's say your rig is broken, catastrophic failure, or you're stuck and you just can't get out. You, even if you have good communication, you've called for help, people are on their way, and this happens a couple times every year during the winter up here on the Alaska trails. People get in trouble and they have to wait it out. Whatever the situation, they got help coming, and they end up having to wait for sometimes several hours. And I always see this. A lot of them just sit in their vehicles and keep the vehicle running, keep the heat on, and that's fine. But why not, take it a step further, shut the vehicle off, conserve that gasoline, and get out and actually do something. grab your handsaw and start processing some firewood. Uh, another great reason to have something like this in your rig. Gives you something to do. Start cutting up some logs and get that firewood processed and a nice fire going. And it's what usually happens in a kind of a survival situation. Um, People who don't have a lot of experience in survival situations, they're gonna go into the woods close by. They're gonna gather up with their hands the branches and the sticks and everything that they can readily, grab. Pile that up. They're gonna get the fire going, and after a little bit, they're gonna realize that they need bigger logs, bigger, pieces of wood to keep that fire going at a nice, comfortable rate. So, what do they do? Sometimes, people who have the chainsaws, they can do that. If you got your axe, you can process, but it's, a little bit more difficult, of course, with an axe. A little bit more sloppy, a little more dangerous with chainsaw. You got your handsaw. Process those bigger chunks of wood. Gives you something to do while you're waiting out the recovery or waiting out for help, waiting for daylight, whatever you're doing in that survival situation. Keep yourself busy, and you're able to process some wood in a very safe manner. Sure, it's a little bit slower, but if you're surviving, if you're waiting for recovery, you got time, and you might as well make use of that time. And this is where something like this shines through. Once again, it's safe, cheap, effective, and in a real good survival situation, this is something you absolutely want to have, because it's going to make your life a heck of a lot better in the long run. So that's just one more point of carrying, a good, readily available handsaw. Now, let's get on the trail, and I'll talk a little bit more about the value of carrying a handsaw. Got some firewood processed. Nice toasty warm fire going. Now we can talk about the saw a little more. As you can see, it's not that difficult to cut up some logs with it. Maybe 2 minutes max cutting a good sized log like that. And that's beetle kill spruce, so cuts fairly easy, and it's not so freezing cold out right now, so it's not frozen solid like it normally is. But all in all, a good saw like that, it'll cut through it pretty good. You can always use your axe to split some of it like I did later on, but when you're talking strict survival, or waiting out a recovery effort, if you get into some trouble, your rig takes catastrophic breakage, of course a good axe is indispensable as well. But you're only limited to so much with an axe. chopping wood for an actual fire, you know, unless you do it all the time, it's pain with an axe. Even a good axe, even a sharp axe, it's inefficient. You're gonna have a lot of waste. You're gonna, you know, lose a lot of that wood by just chopping it. You know, an axe, very efficient, low key to carry, always there when you need it. You don't have to keep it sharp. Just pull it out and go for it. So something like this, as far as especially winter gear, I highly recommend everyone carry a nice little hand axe and make your trail experiences more enjoyable, give you a little bit more confidence to go more places, you know, deal with more situations as they arise. And for something so small, something so inexpensive, you can't beat it. It's a go-to winter item to have, and summer, but definitely for winter. And get you out in the woods, get you by a nice fire, and enjoy the peace and the calm, you know, and get out there and practice the off-road craft, if you will. Use that gear, use that saw, get out there, clear some brush off the trails, set up some camps, and enjoy the wheeling, enjoy your rigs, enjoy the nature, enjoy it all. You only got one shot to do it. You're not always gonna be able to do it, so might as well enjoy it while you can. Thanks for joining me out here at the camp, listening to what I have to say. Hope you learned something, and hope you can add a saw to your bag of tricks, improve that outdoor off-road craft, and we'll see y'all on trails. Hand saw, not a hand axe. Hand saw. Yeah, I know I was calling it a hand axe. Hand saw. I apologize. Back to the video.